And you are looking live at J.B. Murphy Field in San Francisco. This is the big football showdown between the St. Mary's Rams from Stockton and the St. Ignatius Wildcats. And a very pleasant good afternoon to you. George Devine with you on a typical San Francisco late summer afternoon. Yeah, it's foggy here in the Sunset District. First, perfect football conditions. Not too cold for the spectators, not too hot for the players. Well, for this matchup this afternoon, we would be remiss in our duties if we didn't talk about the significance of today, the 20th anniversary of the September 11th terrorist attacks on the United States. And today, St. Ignatius Prep will be honoring not just its local first responders and alumni first responders, but America's military, police, and firefighters, everyone in law enforcement and emergency medical service who comes when we call in our moment of need. So a very important message about today's game. When you think about the message of these two schools, St. Mary's and St. Ignatius, it's about entering to learn and leaving to serve and being men and women for others. And that's certainly what the heroes of 9/11 did 20 years ago today in New York City and in Pennsylvania and in Arlington, Virginia at the Pentagon. So a lot to think about for these young people who weren't even born 20 years ago. And for some of these youngsters, their parents may not have known each other 20 years ago today. That's totally possible. So something to think about. But we're also going to talk about football, a great conversation to have today because you got a couple different storylines. St. Mary's of Stockton is 0-2 coming into this afternoon's matchup. But their losses, nothing shabby. They fell in their first week of the season to De La Salle. And we got a little news about De La Salle we'll share with you later. But the Rams fell at De La Salle a couple weeks ago by a final of 52-16, and then lost in the Holy Bowl last week to Central Catholic of Modesto 41-27. But in the loss to the Raiders of Central Catholic, Jaden Marshall, one of the best football players in the country, showed off his skills. He ran for 3 touchdowns. He carried for more than 200 yards, and he threw for another touchdown, a 90-yard hookup with teammate Matt Arnado. So Marshall headed to UCLA on a football scholarship. He's also one of the top hurdlers in the country. So the Wildcats might see their best opposing athlete of the year this afternoon here in San Francisco. And for St. Ignatius, a different storyline for the Wildcats. They're trying to go to 3-0. This is the final non-league tune-up for St. Ignatius after beating Palo Alto in the opening week and last week holding on for an exciting 13-7 win over visiting Sacred Heart Prep from Atherton. Well, the storyline for SI, you got to think about, Central Coast Section playoffs and stocking up on wins. You've already got 2 wins against strong CCS programs in Palo Alto and in Sacred Heart Prep. But for quarterback Aiden Smith and company, this is a big game today. And it's a big game when you look at the context of what happened last night down in Mountain View. St. Francis beat De La Salle 31-28. Lancers led most of the game and then came back with a last-second touchdown. Matthew Doherty to Nicholas Andrighetto, 16 yards out for the go-ahead score. The first time De La Salle has lost to a Northern California opponent in 30 years, a string of 318 games. So that's SI's first conference opponent in 2 weeks, and Aiden Smith and company looking to get warmed up for that game. So last week it was the Smith and Ryan Ivers show for St. Ignatius, and today it's going to be a treat. You've got one of the best athletes in the country, Jaden Marshall, going against one of the toughest home field advantages you're going to find. We've got more coming up from Sean Lahan, sitting down with some of the St. Ignatius student athletes here on the SI Sports Network.
All right, I'm here with 3 of the SI varsity football players, Santino Franco, Ryan Ivers, and Aiden Smith. So guys, let's talk about the challenges that you guys had last season and what's it like playing this year in front of full houses here at SI. And let's go to the quarterback first, Aiden.
I mean, obviously COVID comes to the front of my mind. Just not having a full season, 6 games, and my first year here, I wasn't able to have the full SI experience, SI football experience, so I'm just looking forward to that and hopefully win the championship.
Ryan?
Yeah, about COVID, yeah, we were never really too sure if we were ever going to play in the fall, but we were luckily able to play in the spring with a truncated season and no fans, but having fans back will be amazing with the crowd spirit.
Santino?
During the summer when we were training, we in the back of our minds were like, are we going to have a season or not? And it just really brought discomfort to most of us, and but we persevered and we had a season. So
Let's talk about things outside of football you like to do at SI. What are your passions here besides playing your sport? Ryan and Santino, you got a favorite class?
Yeah, my favorite class would probably be mathematics. Just every year I really enjoy doing math, and for some reason it just makes me feel at home when I do it.
Probably U.S. histories because I don't know, I just like history.
So there's only 3 of you here, but you represent a lot of fellow teammates. Do you have a teammate that inspires you?
I'd say more from last year's team, Setsu Natane. His father unfortunately passed away right before the season, and he was unwavered. He stayed the course, and he was able to power through and was a huge impact player for us, and he's going to have a great future at the next level and wherever he decides to go with life. So really inspired by him.
Yeah, a past graduate of SI that really inspired me was Danny Ryan. He played receiver, and just the way he played and like the athleticism he played with just really inspired me.
Someone from last year, Jack Burnett, as a sophomore on varsity last year, he really helped me out and like taught me the way. And even this year, I'm inspired by all the seniors as a junior.
All right, guys, let's wrap it up. Tell me what SI football means in a few key words or in a sentence.
It's a lifestyle for us and for me. It's a full-time job, as I would describe it.
Yeah, I'd say SI football is a commitment through sacrifice.
I would say brotherhood. We're all in this together, and we're all brothers.
And back here at J.B. Murphy Field in San Francisco, we're getting ready for the 2-0 St. Ignatius Wildcats hosting the 0-2 St. Mary's Rams from Stockton. And we talked earlier about what's going on in the West Catholic Athletic League, and we mentioned St. Francis with that exciting, just actual, thrilling 31-28 win over De La Salle last night. Bellarmine off this week. The Bells will play Central Catholic of Modesto at home on Friday the 17th. That'll be their final WCAL tune-up. Mitty now 1-2 after falling at Oakdale 56-13 last night. Reardon will be getting underway in about a half hour at Tamalpais. They're hosting Tamalpais from Mill Valley. I believe they're called the Red-Tailed Hawks now. And then Sacred Heart Cathedral 0-3 after falling 17-7 at Burlingame last night. It's been a tough go for the Irish. They've got 3 7-point losses this year. Serra is 1-0 after beating Palo Alto 41-14. They host Half Moon Bay at 2. Mentioned St. Francis's win over Bellarmine, and then Valley Christian losing to Pittsburgh on the road last night 42-20 after opening wins over Wilcox and Capital Christian. You're getting a look at the St. Ignatius Wildcats on the field right now as they break the paper and come out onto the field carrying the American flag. And that was a scene we saw 20 years ago at football fields across America, whether it was high school, even Pop Warner, up through college and the NFL, of players carrying the flag onto the field. And right now I'm thinking about a young man from San Jose who is synonymous with football and patriotism, Pat Tillman from Leland High School, Arizona State, the Arizona Cardinals, then volunteered to become an Army Ranger and lost his life in Afghanistan. So had a chance to meet Pat when he was playing at Arizona State. A remarkable, remarkable person, and really embodying serving others. So the Wildcats, the home team today, wearing the red. And we're going to just toss it in a second or two to our pregame ceremony. He's got a lot happening here. The San Francisco Sheriff's Office Color Guard is here. The San Francisco Fire Department is represented as well. And you'll see what they're doing in just a couple of minutes. So And let's go to public address announcer Andre Polizzi for our pregame ceremonies. Well, you just got to look at the pregame ceremonies here at St. Ignatius with the Spirit of Ignatius Pep Band playing our national anthem and the members of the San Francisco Sheriff's Office presenting our colors this afternoon. Also, Truck 18 from the San Francisco Fire Department, the pride of the Sunset District, extending its 100-foot aerial ladder as part of today's ceremonies. That was a sight a lot of people became accustomed to after 9/11, where anytime you have a firefighter's funeral, they will take two of the aerial ladder trucks and have them point their ladders toward one another and then hang a giant American flag underneath, and then the procession goes underneath the arch created by the ladders and the flag. So it's a very touching and moving gesture. Unfortunately, we see it sometimes, and sometimes we see it when police officers are killed in the line of duty on freeway overpasses when the funeral procession goes by. And let's keep everybody safe. I think that's the most important lesson for today. And now it's time to play some football. The Wildcats will have the ball first, as they're trying to go to 3-0 on this young season in their final pre-WCAL tune-up. And the St. Mary's Rams are trying to pick up their first win of the year. They've had tough competition so far. Really, Matt Cain kicking it off from left to right. August Parker is the deep man on the far side of the field. Ryan Ivers, the man on the near side of the field for the Wildcats. This is going toward Parker. He takes it at about the 14-yard line. 15, 20, 30. He's got a little room. He's across the 40. He could see daylight. 30, 20, two men to beat, and he's pushed down at the 5-yard line. A great play by Matt Arnado, a wide receiver playing special teams for St. Mary's. Ball is officially spotted at the 7-yard line. Excuse me, at the 6. That is an 80-yard return for St. Ignatius and August Parker. The Wildcat offense, which has pretty much led wire to wire in 2 games so far this year, will go to work. I don't know if they're ready to go to work. They're having some trouble here getting the right people on the field. And ball out there. Remember, when the game starts, the team that kicks off, it's their ball. It's property of St. Mary's High School, Stockton, California. And now the ball is the property of St. Ignatius College Prep, San Francisco. Smith and company go to work, and on the opening play, Smith nearly coughs it up. Jaden Marshall. That's Brooks Wheatley. Nearly picked that off. Ball still at the 6-yard line. It is 2nd and goal to go. Play action. And Smith gets smothered. So that's St. Mary's front, led by Jazon Jacks getting in there. Jacks is headed to Fresno State on a scholarship. He's joined up front at the other end by Ryan Gaya, Hayden Jones, and Gabe Valero. So the tackles, Devin Hardwell, Andrew Andrade, Naz Danielson are the linebackers, Brylan Reynolds and Irvin Hill are on the corners. And then Lozano and Gales are the safeties. 3rd and goal to go. Smith. And a whistle. That time looking for his favorite target, Ivers. And we'll get the call from Dave Stamer's crew. It's a false start against St. Ignatius. That'll cost the Wildcats 5 yards. Wildcats well within field goal range. Got a couple of them last week. But after that big opening play by August Parker, you'd like to capitalize. Parker doing a lot of the hard work for the offense. But Charlie Pyler is going to go wide to the right for St. Ignatius. Smith looking to the left, under pressure, gets it off, and it's incomplete. That time looking for Ivers. And a flag against St. Mary's. Dave Stamer's crew talking things over. Wildcats checking Keith Reyes into the ball game in the backfield. He and Ronan Green had great games last week. So did Shane Crispin, Ryan Ivers, and George Lordell at the wide receiver spots. Monroe Barnum had a big catch last week too. So Crispin's going to check out for St. Ignatius. Penalty is against St. Ignatius. It's declined. It brings up 4th down. So easy decision-making here for John Regaglia's ball club. They're going to kick. Cooper Lucy hit a couple of field goals last week with plenty of distance to spare. It's going to come on here. This will be a 26-yard try as it's going to be set down at the 16-yard line. Working just inside the left hash. Clean snap. And it is up. It is wide to the left. So Lucy misses on the chip shot. And if you're St. Mary's and head coach Tony Franks, you are breathing a massive sigh of relief right now. You give up an 80-plus yard kickoff return. You got a team that's on the doorstep of the end zone, and you turn them away empty. So, St. Mary's going to work. Cruz Herrera back at quarterback this week. Herrera missed last week's game against Central Catholic with an injury. He's got Carter behind him. Leads it to Carter, and Carter is cut down in the backfield by Leopold. So St. Ignatius getting great penetration again this week from Luke Leopold, the junior defensive end. So a loss of 3 yards on the play will set up a 2nd and 13. Remember, if the ball clears the end zone on a missed field goal, it's an automatic touchback to the 20. So St. Mary's starting with decent field position. Tough snap, Leopold applying pressure, and Herrera's pass is short, looking for Naz Danielson. So far, if you have 2 game balls to give for St. Ignatius, one goes to Parker, the other one goes to Leopold. But we still got a lot of football left here. 10:22 to go in the first quarter. Nothing the score. That'll bring up 3rd and 13 for St. Mary's. An obvious passing down. The guy you want to watch for is number 2, Jaden Marshall. Herrera under pressure. Over the middle, finds Marshall, and Marshall's got first down yardage out to the 37-yard line. That's a pickup of 21, and Marshall a little slow to get up there. You know, if you came here today to watch the game and somebody said, who's the one player I should keep an eye on for St. Mary's, you just saw him, Jaden Marshall. Headed to UCLA on a 2-sport scholarship. 1st and 10, 37-yard line. Nothing to score. The Rams with some fresh breath in them after a couple of big plays by Leopold. Carter, the lone back alongside Herrera. And Herrera off the play fake. Completes it to Marshall. Marshall with great run after capabilities. Stretches it out to close to the first down marker. So Marshall really chewing things up against St. Ignatius as expected. He's officially down at the 46. He's going to be a couple yards short of about a yard short of the first down. The chain crew moved prematurely. That's why you put that tag on it, so just in case they move. Okay. Now, okay, are we going forwards? Are we going backwards? What are we doing here, guys? All right, so it'll be 2nd and 1. Looks like they've got the chains in the right place. Arnado is the wide man to the bottom of your screen. Marshall is toward the top. Might be a short yardage situation for Carter out of the backfield. It's Carter. He sweeps to the right. He's across midfield, and he's down to the Wildcat 45 for a pickup of 9 and a first down. Carter is pocket-sized, 5'5", 134 pounds. You know, I'm looking at the St. Mary's roster last night, I'm thinking Dave Meggett, who was that great kind of scat back for the New York Giants, and he was tiny. I mean, most of us are tiny by NFL standards, but he was tiny by societal standards. Marshall is the man in motion. They give it to Marshall. He's going to sweep right. Marshall has got room to work. Marshall's got the first down. Marshall inside the 25, still going. See you later. Touchdown, St. Mary's. Jaden Marshall with a 45-yard run. An impressive piece of work by the future UCLA Bruin. Matt Kane, spelled with a K, unlike the former Giant who spelled Kane with a C. Kicking toward the north uprights. It's 7-0 St. Mary's of Stockton leading St. Ignatius. Well, this is the first time this year the Wildcats have trailed. They've been tied and they've led, but they haven't trailed yet this year. And St. Mary's, coming off a couple of lopsided losses to De La Salle and to Central Catholic in the Holy Bowl. By the way, the Holy Bowl is a great tradition between St. Mary's and Central Catholic. I did that game a few years ago for Comcast, and there were about 7,000 people on Labor Day Friday in Stockton. It was about 96 degrees at kickoff. There were 2 people in all of San Joaquin County who were wearing suits and ties, my partner and myself. And as soon as I could get out of that suit and tie, I did. First thing I did when I left the stadium was I grabbed a cold shower. That's about all you can do. So Parker again at the far side of the field for the Wildcats awaiting Kane's kickoff. Ivers on the near side. Parker had that 80-yard plus return to get the game going. This time it's a squib. Parker plays the ground ball at the 10. Standing on his feet, 15, 20. He was a half step away from breaking it. He gets out to about the 33-yard line. St. Mary says it's fumbled, and the officials are saying no, down by contact. So Asante Carter was at the bottom of that pile. And the Wildcats will start from their own 33. So Green went in motion for St. Ignatius. Smith. And it's picked off. And now called a loose ball. So an incomplete pass if you're keeping score. So Crispin, the intended receiver. It'll bring up 2nd and 10. 8:06 to go opening quarter. St. Mary's 7, St. Ignatius nothing. Glad to have you with us on this Saturday afternoon. Crispin is the tight end on the right. Play fake to Green. Smith over the middle. Too high for Crispin. Incomplete. Brooks Wheatley on the coverage for St. Mary's. That'll bring up 3rd down for the Wildcats. But if you're a St. Ignatius fan, I think you're kicking yourself right now. The Wildcats had it 1st and goal at the 6 on their first play from scrimmage today, and they came up empty. Green went in motion. Looks like Crispin moved as well. And that's going to be a false start, and it's going to cost the Wildcats 5 more yards. So this is a big test for St. Ignatius. This offense last week, if you saw the game against Sacred Heart Prep, the one thing the Wildcats did really well was manage the clock with the lead. Now, it's still early in the ball game, but you got to wonder, does this team, how well will they shift to comeback mode? They're both nuances of playing football. How do you play when you're up? How do you play when you're down? And again, some personnel issues, and the Wildcats are forced to use an early timeout. This was another issue the Wildcats had in the first half last week. There's kind of a couple of schools about timeouts. I don't know if a lot of you ever listened to KCBS radio in the morning back when John Madden would do his shtick, first with Al Hart and then with Stan Bunger. But one of the things that John would always talk about was the way football coaches now use timeouts very easily. And he would say, early in a half, if he was going to lose 5 yards, he'd rather lose 5 yards in a timeout because he wanted that timeout late in a half, maybe to get a kicker on the field, maybe to ice the other team's kicker. So 3rd and 15 here from the 28. Smith, play action, pressure coming, completes it, and the Wildcats have 1st down yardage. Gets it out to Ivers. Ivers stretches the play out to the 38-yard line, the 48-yard line. That makes it a pickup of 20. So, we got a partial answer there to our first question. Yes, the Wildcats have some big play capability. Again, this time it's Crispin. And Crispin gets down to the 47 of St. Mary's. That's a pickup of 5. Clock rolling, 7:40 to go, opening quarter. St. Mary's leads at 7-0. If you're just joining us, you missed a great ceremony before the game. You can check it out on the archive of this broadcast. 2nd and 5, Smith, play action, lobs it up high and too high right there. Looking for Hayden Jacob. That was for Ivers. That'll bring up 3rd. Bring up a 3rd and 6. Pfeiffer will go wide to the right with Crispin. Ivers to the bottom of your screen. Smith gets a block from Ronan Green, unloads it to Ivers, and Ivers has got 1st down yardage down at the 36-yard line, a pickup of 12. So Ivers, a touchdown catch last week, 2 big third down conversions this week. He's turning into the most valuable target for Aiden Smith. First and 10, 36-yard line. Give it to Green. Green bounces off a tackle. Green is going to get hit by that fast St. Mary's defense. Remember, St. Mary's has got D1 talent on both sides of the ball. Their front line's impressive. The 3 sophomores and the senior Jazan Jacks. So officially no gain. Smith has Ramirez with him this time, and he's cut down in the backfield. Great penetration for St. Mary's by Ryan Gaya. Gaya, the 6'4", 220-pound sophomore, delivers a crushing blow. That's a loss of 11. Wildcats are back to the 47-yard line of St. Mary's with 6:10 to go here in the first quarter, trailing 7-0. Reyes is going to go wide to the right. Ivers to the bottom of your screen. Smith from the empty backfield. Smith under pressure, gets rid of it just in time, completes it over the middle. And a big play there for Oliver Stewart. Oliver Stewart, a big, strong fella, used every ounce of oomph to hold on to that ball. Stewart takes it down to the 33-yard line. It's a pickup of 14, and St. Ignatius is in that rock and a hard place. It's too short to punt. It's too long for a field goal, especially after you've missed a 26-yard field goal. Right here, you're almost better off throwing an interception in the end zone than punting. Reyes, the lone man in the backfield with Smith. Reyes ready to block. Smith throws, and it's incomplete. In and out of the hands of Crispin. And another big stop for the St. Mary's D. The St. Mary's will start out 1st and 10 from its own 33. Glad you're with us this afternoon. They got to change the ball out here watching St. Mary's of Stockton and St. Ignatius. George Devine with you here at J.B. Murphy Field. Herrera and Marshall and company going to work. And Herrera completes a rocket to Naz Danielson, and Danielson catching that laser down at the Wildcat 39. We've got a flag down on the play. It's holding is the indication against St. Mary's. So this one's coming back. So that's a 10-yard penalty. It'll move the ball back to the 23, and it'll be 1st and 20. But from what we've witnessed today with this St. Mary's offense, the Rams are certainly capable of big plays. Marshall is the slot on the left. Herrera, a lot of time from his line. Now Leopold chasing. Herrera improvises, and Herrera gets out at about the 27-yard line for a pickup of 4. So I'll bring up a 2nd and 16. Christian Nazarethian with the pressure on the last play. Nazarethian playing right up on the line. And the fly play off to the right for St. Mary's. The ball going to Samson Hunkin. Hunkin shoes up another 5 yards. It'll set up a 3rd and 11. Ball's at the St. Mary's 32 with 4:03 to go in the opening quarter. It's been a long quarter. A lot of incomplete passes so far, a lot of penalties. Herrera under pressure, gets rid of it just in time and throws it too long for Hunkin. St. Ignatius with Ben Boyden rushing that pass. Boyden coming up from the safety spot. Well, the Wildcat D getting a stop. And St. Mary's going forward on 4th and long. They've got to cross their own 43-yard line. So Herrera is going to punt it, and we got a whistle. Illegal procedure, St. Mary's, so 5 more yards backwards. So Herrera's going to line up in their usual shotgun. Now he drops back to show kick. Here's the punt. And that one's headed toward the pep band. Remember, the referees have a little discretion over where they can say it went out of bounds. And right there, it's on the fly. So that can be very subjective. Because remember, the referees, in terms of where they are on the field, well, they might be in the perfect spot to say, yeah, it went out here, or it might be, yeah, I think it's somewhere around there. And the somewhere around there on this play is the 45-yard line. So the Wildcats today with starts of -6, -67, and this a -55. Muzzy in there at tight end. They give the ball out of the backfield to Green. And Green picks up a couple. Rex Bales helping block for him. James Lucy, Rex Bales, Aiden Flocini, Santino Franco, and Zachary Quilisi on the line for St. Ignatius. Wildcats will flip the tackles and guards. They go strong side, weak side, as opposed to right and left. So the only one who's a constant is the center, Flocini, I'm sorry. Smith is going to line up as a wideout. So a Wildcat hit play here for the Wildcats. And it's a great Wildcat play for Oliver Bly. Bly picks up 13 yards and a first down. Bly gets down to the 41 of St. Mary's. Clock at 2:45 and counting. Bly's going to stay as the Wildcat for the Wildcats. Talking things over with Crispin. Strong side right. And a sloppy handoff there with Hayden Jacob. Falls on the fumble. Now, if you're keeping stats, that goes as a team rush since he covered up a fumble. Ball goes back to the 49-yard line. Ball's at the 48. Wildcats have to cross the 41. Smith goes back into the backfield as the quarterback. Muzzy, the man in motion on the right. He's matching up against Marshall. Now Smith under pressure. Smith taken down in the backfield. Great penetration for St. Mary's by Devin Harwell, a 5'9", 165-pound senior linebacker. Andrew Andrade also pressuring Smith. Well, the Wildcats' drive here turning into a lost weekend. They're pushed back to the 45-yard line. Loss of another 8. And it's going to be third and a whole lot of frequent flyer miles. 3rd and 24. Now the guy to watch here is Ivers. He's at the bottom of your screen. And Smith throws it over the middle, incomplete, looking for Oliver Stewart as tight end. The Wildcats will be forced to punt right here. And guess who's deep for St. Mary's? Jaden Marshall. Cooper Lucy also handles the punting for St. Ignatius. Clean snap. Good kick. Marshall doesn't want any part of it. And a great roll for Lucy. That one is down to the 14-yard line. You can't ask for a better roll than that on a 41-yard punt. So it's Herrera and St. Mary's going to work. And Carter with almost nowhere to go. Carter picks up 1 as the first quarter winds down. Looks like St. Mary's is going to let the clock run out here. So the Rams lead at 7-0. And we're going to switch ends here on the field. You're watching Wildcat football on the SI Sports Network.
St. Ignatius College Preparatory is a Catholic Jesuit school serving the San Francisco Bay Area since 1855. Through a rigorous and integrated program of academic, spiritual, and co-curricular activities, St. Ignatius challenges its students to lead lives of faith, integrity, and compassion. Students are enriched by a diverse and loving Christian community, and are called to become lifelong learners who develop their individual talents for the greater glory of God. With a commitment to intellectual excellence, leadership, service, and justice, we strive to be men and women for and with others, responding courageously to the opportunities and challenges of our time. Courage to lead, passion to serve.
And we get ready to start the second quarter here at St. Ignatius. George Devine with you. St. Mary's leads it 7-0, 2nd and 9 for the Rams. Herrera has Carter with him in the backfield. Little play fake. Throws it over the top. Incomplete for Danielson. Agiano on the coverage there for St. Ignatius. It'll bring up 3rd down. While St. Mary's showing off their human highlight film this afternoon, Jaden Marshall with the game's only score. He absolutely dazzled. He is one of the best hurdlers in the country. He's going to be one of the 3 receivers bunched on the left. 3rd and 9. Herrera with Carter in the backfield. No tight end set. And too long on the right. Incomplete for Hunkin. That'll bring up 4th down. Remember, Herrera also punts for the Rams. Sort of like when Danny White was the quarterback of the Cowboys, well, more than a generation ago. And it's always interesting. Herrera, then he'll step back a little deeper into the play count. And he's going for it. Throwing it deep over the middle. And Danielson can't hold on. A big play for the Wildcats. So Herrera started to sell the punt right there. And if you're the defense in that situation, you've got to be ready for all contingencies. I mean, you don't know if he's going to just kind of make a slight turn to the right and shank a punt, which we saw earlier, or if Herrera is going to drop back and look deep. Now, Aiden Smith and company have their 2nd best field position of the day. Starting from the 15-yard line. Little play fake to Reyes over the middle for Stewart, incomplete. And a flag down on the play. Joshua Watkins was the cover man right there. Let's get the call here from Dave Steen. Remember, in the high school game, pass interference is not a spot foul. In this situation, it would be half the distance to the goal. You do not get the ball at the point of infraction the way you do in the NFL. So the ball will move halfway to the goal line, so at the 7.5, you can drop the chains, folks. And Reyes, the ball carrier, it's offsides against St. Mary's. Again, half the distance. So the ball will move to the 2. So the ball will move down to the 3-yard line. Still first down for St. Ignatius. Wildcats need points right here. Stewart, the tight end. He and Muzzy are going to be on the field. So a bit of a jumbo package for the Wildcats. Smith with 2 receivers to the left. Barnum is the wide man. Got Reyes with him in the backfield. Gives it to Reyes. Reyes is in for the score. Touchdown, St. Ignatius. Keith Reyes with the 3-yard touchdown run. And there's an injured Wildcat on the play. So the Wildcat medical staff attending to the injured player. Always encouraging to see when the injured player is able to sit up. And that's Aiden Flocchini, the center, who is now being helped off the field. So let's hope for Aiden that he's okay. Always hurts to lose one of your starters, or it hurts to lose any player, but it's especially painful for a team when it's your center. You really count on your center and your quarterback to have a great chemistry. Lucy on for the extra point. Right here looking for the tie. And so St. Ignatius ties it at 7. So St. Mary's gambled with the fake punt. The Wildcats capitalize on the short field. And we got a 7-7 ball game with 11:39 to go in the first half. Doesn't the band sound good? I know that I'm going to get somebody mad in some marketing department somewhere what I'm about to say, and I'm ready for the consequences. You ready? The worst live band is better than the world's greatest DJ at a sporting event. I just feel that way. I'm okay with an organist at a baseball game can, be the baseball equivalent of a marching band or a pep band. But I'd rather hear a band play, the melody of the phone book. Just go through the names and some of the stuff they play that's pre-recorded. Lucy to kick it off. First time today we're going to see St. Mary's on a kick return. It's Hunkin and Marshall. And it's going to be taken by one of the up men. Looks like it's Wheatley. And Wheatley's across midfield. Wheatley's rustled out at the Wildcat 45. That's Matt Arnotto. So Matt Arnotto, who had that 80-yard touchdown last week against Central Catholic. So 1st and 10 St. Mary's, a good start here. And Herrera and company now tied at 7. Looking to go back ahead. Marshall's in motion. Marshall's got the ball sweeping right. And Marshall is run out after about a 3-yard scamper. Marshall got an okay spot right there. He picks up 3. 11:04 to go, opening half. 7-7 our score. Arnotto's the wide man on the right. They get it to Arnotto. Arnotto off a stutter step. Gets brought down by Oliver Bly. Arnotto should have first down yardage. Yes, he does. He's down to the 36. So he picks up 6. 1st and 10 St. Mary's from the Wildcat 36. 10:40 to go in the opening half. 7-7 the score. Marshall went in motion. Give to Marshall. Marshall chased by Leopold. Marshall's got the first down. Marshall's around the corner. He's going down deeper down to the 10-yard line. Marshall picks up 26. I just love how Marshall moves. You see a little bit of hesitation, you buy into it, boom, he goes the other way. He is a special player. The ball's at the 9, so officially a pickup at 27. So Marshall in the backfield with Herrera. And Herrera flagged down and Hunkin into the end zone, but this is likely coming back. Seen a lot of flags today. Yep, it's coming back. Ball's back to the 15-yard line. So that hold took place at the 5. So after Hunkin was well into his run, Marshall's going to go into an eye behind Herrera in the shotgun. Marshall's 10 yards behind the ball. He's going to go up the middle with it on the handoff from Herrera, and he runs right into trouble. Marshall is stuffed down at the 10-yard line. Benjamin Boyden getting to him on the stop for St. Ignatius. Nazarethian down there as well. Pickup of 6. 2nd and 10. Or 2nd and goal from the 10. Herrera. Little play fake. Completes it to Lucchese. And Lucchese is down to the 6. So a tough 4 yards right there. 7-7 the score. St. Mary's and St. Ignatius tied. 8:46 to go, second quarter. Marshall, he slipped. He was the man in motion. Marshall, a lot of stutter step there. Marshall evades the defense twice, and he's stopped for no loss. Well, the Wildcats eventually got some pads on him. Fourth and goal. Kane is going to kick it. This will be a 22-yard try for the lead. Clean snap, good hold. And St. Mary's retakes the lead at 10-7. So St. Mary's stopped inside the red zone by the team wearing red. Looking at the schedules for these ball clubs. St. Mary's opens WCAL play on the 24th, so 13 days from now at St. Francis, then at Valley Christian, and then technically is the home team on October 8th, a game you'll see on Coffee TV 20 against Sacred Heart at Kezar. And back here on the 16th for Mitty. Then road games at Sarah and Reardon before finishing up the regular year on November the 6th. That's what it's scheduled for right now against Bellarmine. Crispin and Parker are the deep men awaiting Kane's kick. And that one is taken by Charlie Pfeiffer. And that will put the Wildcats back at their 29-yard line. So the Wildcats starting field position today, if you're thinking about yardage to get to the end zone, a -6 missed field goal, -67 and -55 were punts, a -15 a touchdown, and right here a -71. That's how coaches think of it. And Smith on first down. Overthrows Ivers. And one of our officials is shaken up. So this does not look good for our umpire. That is Roberto Lopez, the umpire today. And it is the home team's responsibility to provide medical care for the officials. And St. Ignatius partners with UCSF. And the trainers from both sides are out there. And it looks like he collided with a St. Mary's player. It looks like the St. Mary's player was in pursuit and was watching the ball and ran into the official. And that really illustrates the dangers of being a football official. You think about it, you're out there in a polo shirt and slacks. Everybody else is wearing $500 worth of equipment, a helmet, pads, gloves. And not to mention, some of the linemen are a lot bigger than you are. And so it's a very serious situation. And we're hoping that Mr. Lopez is okay. But I worked a game many years ago. It was a St. Francis Sarah game on Community Access TV in Mountain View. And the umpire got hit by a pulling guard. They were both kind of moving into the same space, and neither saw the other. And the fellow who was the umpire needed to have a pin put in his arm. That's how bad the fracture was. And the kid who was involved in the play, the kid from St. Francis, was absolutely distraught. And, the officials, really did a great job comforting him, saying, hey, it happens. It's not your fault. But that is one of the perils of officiating. But it looks like Roberto's sitting up right now. And he's talking with his boss, crew chief Dave Stamer. And that's a good sight to see. So the officiating crew can go as 4. I mean, they went as 4 for a long time. And today was assigned as a 6-member crew. Excuse me, a 7-member crew. So just a matter of moving somebody over. And right there, just talk about sportsmanship. The player involved, Joshua Watkins for St. Mary, is coming over and checking on Roberto Lopez. Roberto giving him a pat on the back. They shared a handshake. I don't know why the crowd is booing. But this is the first time I've seen a 7-member crew for a high school game. And I know that a lot of the officials groups were having a hard time signing people up this year. So it's a 2nd and 10, ball on the 30. Muzzy is the man in motion. Muzzy on the swing play. Muzzy out to the 33. Tough 3 yards right there. This half has taken forever. Sometimes you get a quarter that just drags and you think, well, gee, there are kids who were born at the beginning of this game who are now old enough to play. You just get that feeling sometimes. And today's kind of got that feeling. And it's not one reason. It's been a couple of injuries. It's been some penalties. It's been some scores. Swing pass, Crispin. And Crispin is brought down at the 37-yard line. That's a pickup of 4, well short of the Wildcat first down. So Lucy will come on to punt on 4th and 3. The Wildcats trail at 10-7. Marshall is the deep man for St. Mary's. Clean snap. And this one's going to take a reverse bounce. Wildcats will cover it up at the 37 on the other side. So that's a 26-yard punt. That's easy, 13-13. The math is not very challenging right there. So St. Mary's will have it. A lot of time left here in the first half. Remember, the Rams still have 3 timeouts. Wildcats have 2 timeouts. Danielson went in motion. He's the wing on the left. Remember, they bunched 3 here. And the last time we saw St. Mary's bunch 3, Herrera passed off to the right. He's got Carter in the backfield with him. Hunkin is his receiver on the right now. Marshall is in motion. Herrera's first look toward Marshall, swings right, gets it to Marshall. Marshall off the lateral, across the 40, across the 45, pushes off a defender, then gets another burst as he's finished off and gets down to the Wildcat 45. That's a pickup of 17. First down, St. Mary's with 5.5 minutes to go in the first half. Danielson wide to the right for St. Mary's. St. Mary's has a big guy up front, Elijah Iermia, 6'2", 330 pounds. At the right guard spot. He's protecting Herrera as he drops back. Herrera goes super deep and incomplete. Into double coverage. And it's too long for Danielson. Ivers a little shaken up on the play. He's got it looks like a twisted ankle. Pfeiffer encouraging Ivers to go to the sideline. Second and 10, 45-yard line. Herrera hands it to Hunkin, and Hunkin runs into Pfeiffer, and then he gets finished off by Oliver Bly. Forward progress gives him about 2 yards, but Bly pushed him backwards for about 4 more. Pfeiffer had enough to slow him down, but it was Bly who delivered the devastating hit. 4:39 to go in the first half. St. Mary's, the 10-7 lead, faces a 3rd and 7. Herrera leaves Carter back to block, completes it. Outside to Wheatley, and Wheatley wiggles his way to a first down. Wheatley down to the 32-yard line. So St. Mary's with a decent march underway. First and 10 Rams at the 32 of St. Ignatius. And this is Carter. Carter dragged down as he crosses the line of scrimmage by Alexander Hardigan. Picks up 3. It'll be 2nd and 7. 3:45 and ticking in the first half. St. Ignatius in a situation right here, or excuse me, St. Mary's in a situation where they've got 3 timeouts. And they really could drag it out here and make it a 2-possession game. And Herrera's pass dropped by Hunkin. Pfeiffer on the coverage. But I like how Herrera really spots his receivers and fires quickly. Herrera got hurt in week 1 against De La Salle, sat out last week, and Jordan Charlotte handled the quarterbacking for St. Mary's. 3rd and 7. Herrera leaves Carter back to block. Pressure coming from the Wildcats. Herrera nowhere to go. Gets rid of it. But the pressure from Santino Franco too much to handle. So that snuffs the Rams out on 3rd down with 3:17 to go. And right now you're in a situation where if you're St. Mary's, your head coach Tony Franks, you might want to think here about going for it. You're probably too far for a field goal, definitely too short to punt, and you're going to use one of your 3 timeouts you have remaining. By the way, for Tony Franks, just a great guy to talk football with. Super enthusiastic, and you talk to a coach before a game and your team's 2-0, you've lost, a couple of big ball games to schools you consider rivals. I mean, Central Catholic and St. Mary is kind of an affinity rivalry, the 2 Catholic schools on the 99 corridor that are closest to each other. Stockton and Modesto are fairly close. Then De La Salle, you say, okay, well, is De La Salle a rival? Well, I think for everybody who plays De La Salle, they're a rival. But in the case of St. Mary's, think about the Highway 4 corridor. There are young men who live in Discovery Bay or maybe Brentwood, and the driving time between home and Stockton, home and Concord is about the same. And so it's a flip a coin situation. Kind of like if you're a kid living in San Bruno, do you go to one of the city schools or you go to Sarah? It's kind of how it goes. Herrera and company appear to be going for it on 4th down. But the man to watch is Marshall. He's the slot left. Hunkin wide to the top of your screen. Herrera gets rid of it. And he completes it to Lucchese. There is a flag down. There are 2 flags you see in that situation. One is for pass interference. The other one is for holding. An eligible receiver downfield, another option you see in 4th down situations, where if you're St. Mary's right now, you're going to go backwards 5 yards. You got 2 choices here. You can carry on and try to throw toward the end zone. And if you get picked off in the end zone, it's not the end of the world, because no matter how great that interception looks, the play stops right there. Remember, Herrera has attempted a fake punt today. So 4th and 12 from the 34. Herrera is going to pass this time. Here comes pressure, and Herrera's sacked. The Wildcats with great penetration from Alexander Hardigan. Hardigan, another big tackle for St. Ignatius. And the ball is back to the 45 of St. Mary's. Now St. Ignatius has got a great opportunity here with 2 timeouts remaining. Officially, the ball is going to be at the 43-yard line. But you know, if you read the game preview today, you read about Jaden Marshall, you read about Ryan Ivers, think we're going to see two great receivers scoring touchdowns. Nope, you've seen two defenses making huge plays. Aiden Smith, a lot of time to throw, goes deep looking for Ivers, and it's nearly picked off. And Ivers was jockeying for position right there with Irvin Hill. That'll bring up a 2nd and 10. So 2nd and 10 coming up here from the 43. Reyes up the middle. Reyes gets out to the 48-yard line with a pickup of 5. And we've got a downed Wildcat on the play. So looking at some scores from around the WCAL last night, Valley Christian lost on the road at Pittsburgh 42-20. The Warriors are now 2-1. They won their opener over Wilcox 54-33 and then won at home against Capital Christian last Friday 40-19. St. Francis now 3-0 after last night's stunner. The 31-28 victory over De La Salle. Wildcats will play at St. Francis on Friday night the 24th. So, good news. John O'Brien, the injured Wildcat, is up and moving. And I believe O'Brien is playing center right now, so that's the second center to get hurt today for SI. So the depth of the Wildcat line is going to be tested right here. So Santino Franco is going to shift over from guard to center. Well, let's see how you do, Santino. Snap to Smith, nice and clean. Reyes staying home to block. Smith airs it out for Muzzy, and it falls incomplete. Irvin Hill again on the deep coverage. Hill and Brylan Reynolds are the corners for St. Mary's. Dylan Lozano and Omari Gales are the safeties. And you'll see a little bit of Naz Danielson, Andrew Andrade, and Devin Harwell coming up from the linebacker spots. That'll bring up 4th down. I don't know. 2 centers get hurt. I don't know if Franco was drafted or he was a reluctant volunteer. But somebody's got to do the job. And honestly, if you're doing your job well as a center, nobody knows who you are until you get hurt, recover a fumble, or make a really bad play. Nobody knows who you are. That's kind of how it works. Important, but relatively inconspicuous and anonymous. Lucy to punt it. Gets it off cleanly. This is a good one. Marshall's going to let it go, and the Wildcats are going to cover it up inside of their own 15. So now St. Mary's has 2 minutes and 30 seconds to work with an 83-yard field. First and 10 for St. Mary's from its own 18-yard line. Herrera looking. Herrera goes deep, finds Marshall. Marshall stepped out of bounds. I think Marshall might have been unaware of where he was because he backed up and he stepped out of bounds. It'll stop the clock with 2:24 left. So St. Mary's on the opening play of this drive picks up 20 yards and only needs 4 seconds to do it. Lucchese, Wheatley, and Marshall bunch on the left. Carter stays in the backfield with Herrera. Big Iramira at 330 pounds blocks on the right. And Herrera throws incomplete. And the Rams only lost 4 seconds there. They lost 6 seconds on the opening play, 4 on the incomplete pass. Again, bunch 3 on the left. Lucchese, Wheatley, and Marshall. Herrera looking that way. He's got Hunkin at the top of your screen. Carter on the inside handoff. Carter, a beautiful dive. Gets out to the 44 for a pickup of 6. Clock still ticking with 2:10 to go in the first half. St. Mary's leads at 10-7. A Kane field goal, the difference right now. 3rd and 4. And Herrera completes it to Hunkin. Hunkin across midfield. He's got the first down. He's got more. He's well into Wildcat territory, taken out inside of the 35-yard line. Hunkin is down to the 32. It's a pickup of 24. First and 10 at the 32. Herrera gives it to Carter. And Carter with the dive. Hardigan on the stop with help from Pfeiffer. Gain of 5. 2nd and 5. St. Mary's still 2 timeouts. St. Ignatius 2 timeouts. 1:05 to go in the half. Remember, first downs and out of bounds stop the clock. Little play fake, and the bounce pass doesn't work when you're going forward. Here's where there's a little football, kind of one of those just things to know in football. If you throw it forward and you bounce it, it's incomplete. If you throw it backward and you bounce it, it's considered a long toss. It's not considered a pass. It's considered basically a handoff. But when you throw it backwards and bounce it, it's live. Anybody can touch it. Anybody can do what they want with it. 54 seconds left in the half. Marshall in motion to the top of your screen. Herrera goes the other way. Herrera through the hands of Lucchese. Wildcats with Pfeiffer and Ivers on the coverage. Yeah, the crowd chanting Butterfingers. When I was a kid, I'd been into a Butterfinger bar once. I don't know what happened, but now when I see that blue and gold packaging, I have almost immediate sugar shock. I don't know what's in that thing. 10-7 the score, 51 seconds left in the half. Fourth down for St. Mary's. Herrera going for it. Herrera under pressure. Herrera gets rid of it. And it's caught by Lucchese for the touchdown. What a great play by Herrera. 27-yard TD. The pressure was there from St. Ignatius. Benjamin Boyden coming up from the safety spot. And now Kane to try to make this a 10-point ball game. It is up. It is good. And with 43 seconds left in the half, it's St. Mary's 17, St. Ignatius 10. Remember, St. Mary's will have the ball to start the second half as the Rams deferred. You know, something to know, there's a little connection between these two schools. John Regalia, the St. Ignatius head coach, his father-in-law is John Gustorf, the longtime basketball coach at St. Mary's. John had some great teams in the 80s. They used to face the likes of the Wildcats and Bellarmine and Sacred Heart and the Father Barry Christmas Classic up at Jesuit High in Sacramento. His teams could play. Very strong fundamental squads. St. Mary has been a long-time girls basketball power as well. Stockton is a great sports town. I've been out there a few times to call games at Pacific and at St. Mary's, and every time has been great. Wish the ride were a little nicer, but the destination is certainly worth the hassle of the Altamont Pass. Crispin and Porter are deep for Kane's kick. And this one is going to be a short one. Agiano with the catch. So 1st and 10, St. Ignatius, the ball at the 35. Smith, under pressure, scrambles. Smith, he's got the first down. Smith sweeps left. And he picks up 12. No, he picks up 9. They're going to say he went out just short of the down marker. It looked like to me he was out of bounds a little bit later. The sideline here is a little bit deceptive. You got the blue and the green. Great block, and Smith cannot capitalize. But Zachary Quilisi on the offensive line with a pancake right there. Orlando Pace, the great tackle for the St. Louis Rams. He was kind of the guy who introduced the world to pancake. Hard to believe he played 20 years ago. 49ers lost to the Rams on Sunday, September 9th, 2001. That was the home opener for the 49ers. BYU beat Cal that weekend with authority, and then Stanford beat, I forget who Stanford beat Boston College that weekend. I was at all three of those games. I remember them well. So 3rd and 1 at the 44. And I had done the St. Francis game that week. I forget who the Lancers played, but they won as well. Complete to Stewart over the middle. And Stewart is out to the 49 of St. Mary's. There's a flag down. Smith hit the deck, so if this is roughing the passer, it's an add-on. Yep, roughing the passer, so that'll add 15 yards from the end of the play. This is a huge add-on for St. Ignatius, and it might open the door up for a Lucy field goal try. You know, when the crowd says you can't do that, I think in the movie Slapshot and the French-Canadian goalie talking about the different no, you cannot do that. And he was demonstrating on poor Jim Carr all the different things with his stick. That was awful. 1st and 10, 33-yard line. Smith on a bobbly snap completes it to Ivers, and Ivers is down to the 23 for a pickup of 10 more. They haven't moved the chains yet. Where's the first down signal? Oh, there it is. You know, we've had some delays today, and right now the chain crew is responsible for about 20% of them. So 1st and 10, 23-yard line. Crispin in motion. Fake to Reyes. Smith completes it. And the Wildcats in business here. Completes it to Hayden Jacob. So Hayden Jacob gets it down to the 6-yard line. Make it the 7. Reyes stays home in the backfield. Reyes with a key block. In and out of the hands of tight end Stewart. Irvin Hill, who's had some big plays today at corner, with another pass breakup. 8 seconds left. Wildcats still have 2 timeouts left. And you think your worst case scenario here is a field goal try. Yeah, but that was, part of the movie Slapshot was, can you demonstrate some of the finer nuances of hockey? Hooking when you do this. Slashing. Oh, it was great. I think Jim needed ice and Advil. Advil wasn't even legal over the counter in 1976. I think he had to settle for Tylenol. 1st and 8 from the 20-yard line. One of the great movies Paul Newman was in. So the Wildcats right now, if you're kicking a field goal, ball's on the 7. So you'd be looking at about a 24-yard attempt. The ball would be spotted at the 14-yard line. Crispin on the right. The tight end Stewart is going to spread out a little wide to the left. Stewart's been dependable today. He's worked well in traffic. Crispin in motion for Smith. Reyes stays with him. Now Smith rolling. Smith dancing, throwing deep into the corner for Stewart, and it's broken up. Broken up for St. Mary's by Wheatley. There are 2.7 seconds left. So Cooper Lucy's going to come on to try the 24-yard field goal, but you couldn't have drawn that play up better for Oliver Stewart. By the way, Stewart spells it like Stewart Street in San Francisco, S-T-U-A-R-T. Ivers the holder. Here's the snap. The field goal try is up. It is good. And at the half, St. Ignatius trims 3 points off St. Mary's lead. It's the Rams 17 and the Wildcats 10. Halftime coming up here from San Francisco on the SI Sports Network.
Do you know SI?
Do you know SI?
Do you know SI?
Do you know SI?
I chose SI because it's a high school community that everybody's excited to be in.
SI is the kind of place you don't have to choose between being an athlete and an actor.
Kids that do arts, kids that do sports can really be friends.
We're all so different, and we celebrate that.
Everyone together, no matter who you are, is so enriching to be with people that have the same love for your school as you do.
The stuff that you learn here isn't just math and science, it's how to be a better person.
I think a lot of Jesuit values have helped me, even though I'm not a Catholic person. Jesuit is being with and for others.
Helping each other discover our common humanity, pushing each other to be our best selves. That's why SI is so great, is because we use that Jesuit mindset.
Jesuit is being open to growth. High school is definitely trial and error.
Being able to try new things or experience new things.
You have many opportunities to become a new person and really express yourself.
Jesuit is being intellectual.
The things you're learning in the classroom, you're fully encouraged to take out into the world and to apply to your personal experience.
Jesuit is being religious.
Our motto is finding God in all things.
It's about finding a way to be connected to God that's unique to you.
Jesuit is being loving.
It all starts with finding yourself and loving yourself.
No one's left behind. Everyone has a place.
Jesuit is being committed to justice.
I am so grateful for what I have, and now I want to help the world. So if it does improve and progress,
Jesuit is being called to leadership.
Leadership is not really about the roles, the names, the titles that you're given.
I think SI provides a lot of opportunities for students to lead, whether they feel like they're the outspoken leadership type or they don't think they'd ever be seen as a leader.
You are a leader in some way or another.
This is Jesuit.
This is Jesuit.
This is Jesuit.
This is SI.
Why should students choose St. Ignatius football? Because of the experience. We have over 100 years of championship tradition here at St. Ignatius in our football program. We've had Olympic athletes, we've had players that have come through our program that have continued their athletic and educational careers as collegiate level and professional level athletes in all sports, especially football. And we take a lot of pride in our work, ultimately pushing to accomplishing our goals, one of which is on-field success.
I chose SI, just based off of how well they combined academics and athletics. For me, it was the pinnacle of sports in the Bay Area. And what makes the SI football program special is, it's not on the field or in the film room. To me, it's in the locker room. It's just the coolest group of guys that you'll ever meet. Last year was my first year ever playing, and I'd never really felt a sense of community like that before. And now I have almost 50 friends for life from last year and from this year too.
I chose SI to further my academics and to play for the best football school in San Francisco. What makes it special is the brotherhood that we have here and how well put together the program is. Coach Rags runs the football program like a college. So for the guys who wants to play in the next level, things are becoming similar to how we run things here.
To me, what makes SI football so special is the camaraderie that comes with it, along with the amount of hard work and the high level you can play football here. SI football kind of showed me how to be a leader almost, like freshman year. Didn't really know what I was doing, so I kind of just looked around and observed everyone. But as I got older, I kept working, and I tried to be a leader in everything I do. Be the guy that people can look to when they need something. And I think a huge part of that's me playing football here at SI.
Being an SI student athlete carries a lot of weight. It's countless hours after school, before school for some sports, 6 days a week. So it's definitely really tough, but it's all worth it in the end. You're representing the school, and you have to do so in a respectable way.
SI football, it's shaped me to be the person I am. Before SI in general, I wasn't even able to look somebody in the eye and have a full-on conversation with them. They shaped me to be a better person. We work hard on and off the field, and I always look forward to wearing red and blue.
SI football it's everything. It's competitive, it's fun, and it's the best program in San Francisco.
SI football is family.
SI football is a brotherhood.
My favorite memory of SI football, it's beating Sarah on the Murph to win the WCAL championship last year. The stands were packed, down to the wire, goal line stand to end it on an extra point. It really doesn't get better than that. I define that as the quintessential St. Ignatius experience.
St. Ignatius students choose St. Ignatius football for many reasons. We are extremely excited about the expansion of our facility, specifically with the lighting of J.B. Murphy Field. We will now host home night games on campus here, and our program and our team and our student athletes and coaches are extremely excited about that opportunity to host Friday night football here on campus. If you are a student that is looking for an academic challenge, looking for an athletic opportunity to achieve your goals, but also come together and achieve team goals at the highest level possible, then you're looking for St. Ignatius. Welcome to Wildcat Football.
I did so many sports growing up, and I found volleyball in 6th grade. Honestly, it was like I realized that was my true passion. I knew that I wanted to be at a school that could challenge me academically, but also challenge me athletically.
I wanted to be surrounded with people who were as interested in athletics and going into the college level as I was. You have all the support around you that you really need to do well, and so that was something that was really important for me. Like, in order to succeed and accomplish my goals, I would need that support, which SI provided for me. Coaching volleyball at SI means that I can reinforce our Jesuit ideals in a different capacity. A lot of what I'm teaching them is how to be an athlete, how to be a competitive person, and yet still be considerate, kind, compassionate, respectful. And so I'm really proud that our girls are that way on the court and off the court.
Having practice and work, it kind of makes me even more motivated. I feel like when I have volleyball, I get more work done and I'm more successful.
The kids here, they're working so hard and they're very like-minded, like you want to be the best. You have to figure out when is the best time for me to study, when is the best time for me to do my homework, but also, once you get into practice, once you get into weights, you need to learn how to completely zone in and focus in on that.
Playing athletics at SI has allowed me to develop into a much better athlete than I was coming in, and I'm going to UCLA next year to pursue sports, and I'm really excited, and I definitely would not have been able to do that if I didn't come to SI.
Competing in the WCAL is tough but rewarding. We play against the best volleyball players in the Bay Area, and that kind of competition means you're going to get the best out of your own girls too.
It's great to know that every game is going to be a tough fight and you have a lot of competition, so it just makes your team that much better when you're playing teams who are as good as you or even better than you. And it just makes for such exciting games like, SH and other teams where you go to those, 4 or 5 set matches.
We're off our seats, we're never sitting down, we're cheering for each other, every huddle, we huddle over every point. You could feel that it's this deep-rooted rivalry, but it's also super fun because you get to play for people, you get to play for a crowd, it's like it gets your adrenaline rushing, Okay, this is the Wildcats versus the Fighting Irish.
I am an alum of SI. There's a reason why I'm back, and it's because of the people that I met here and the lessons I learned. I value those so much that when I went on to college and even in teaching at another school, the opportunity to come back here and be a part of it was something that was a no-brainer for me. And that's because of the people and the opportunities that I had here as a student and an athlete.
It makes me really proud to be, a Wildcat. I get to play for SI, and then, later on in life, I'm an alumni, and I will be proud to say that I'm, an SI volleyball alumni. SI means so much to me. I just want to show other schools and just everyone that this is what SI is.
Did you know that St. Ignatius has 66 teams in 15 sports and close to 100 clubs and performing arts activities for students? Some of these activities include dance, drama, choral, orchestra, video production, and finance. Our yearbook, The Ignatian, started in 1910 and our student newspaper dates back to 1920. Did you know that the average class size at SI is 25 students, with more than half of our entire student body being students of color? Did you know that affinity clubs like the Black Students Union, the Association of Latin American Students, and the Asian Students Coalition have been part of SI for 5 decades? Did you know that SI has students from 7 Bay Area counties with over 100 grammar schools represented in each class? SI is in the top 1% in the nation in advanced placement exams taken, with the pass rate 20% higher than the global average. On the SATs, SI students' average scores are 254 points higher than the national average. Did you know that 93% of SI students participate in the spiritual retreat program? And the class of 2017 averaged over 160 hours of community service for each student. This year, we will distribute $4.3 million to 22% of SI students, with the average financial aid grant being $13,400. Did you know that the Father Sauer Academy is our new tuition-free middle school that serves students of all faiths from low-income families? Did you know SI's Girls Who Code Club and the robotics team are helping prepare students for today's workforce, and that these clubs are mentored by adults and SI alumni currently working in tech? Did you know upon graduating from SI, the members of the class of 2017 were awarded $27.9 million in college scholarships? I'm SI teacher, volleyball coach, and former Modges student Jen Curtin, SI class of 2004. To learn more about St. Ignatius, log on to siprep.org and click About Us. That's siprep.org and click About Us.
And welcome back to J.B. Murphy Field in San Francisco. The second half of an exciting game, one that's been defined by the defenses about to get underway. George Devine with you on this typical late summer Saturday afternoon in San Francisco. A lot of fog, and we're going to be joined here in the third quarter by Neil Naranja. Neil is the Prep to Prep reporter who covers St. Ignatius sports. Now tell us about the website real quick, Neil.
Prep to Prep is a great website to read about all high school sports from various student reporters, and if you're an aspiring journalist, it would be a great place to start.
All right, Lucy's going to kick it off. The guy you want to keep it away from here is Marshall. He's at the bottom of your screen. Hunkin is at the top. It's a short kick, and it'll be played by Lucchese, who caught the touchdown pass earlier, and Lucchese twists his way out to the 33-yard line for St. Mary's. So St. Mary's has the ball because Tony Frank's ball club deferred the opening toss at the start of the ball game and had the score right before halftime, the touchdown pass on fourth down, Herrera to Lucchese. So Herrera and company go back to work right here. 1st and 10, 33-yard line. Carter in the backfield. Carter more than 100 pounds lighter than the right guard ahead of him. Sweep to Marshall. Marshall runs so well off contact. You know, Neil, I was thinking before the game, Marshall is not only the best athlete the Wildcats are going to see this year, maybe the best athlete a lot of teams will see this year.
Definitely. I was watching his footwork drills before the game, and they were just, it was art.
Yeah, what I like is how you mentioned the footwork, how he will slow down and speed up and just move a little bit this way and then get you to buy to go that way, and then boom, he blows you away. He picked up 4 on that opening play. St. Mary's on a 2nd and 6. Leading at 17-7. Off the sweep, here's Hunkin. He's got speed as well, and Hunkin runs into enemy territory. Into the SI bench. Pickup of 9 to the 45. That's a first down for St. Mary's. But, you know, when you have a guy like that, I don't care who the team is, you're the opposition. You're going to watch him all the time. You're going to wonder, where's he going? You got to account for him on every play. So, 1st and 10. Here's Marshall. Marshall, little pressure right there. Beat Leopold. And gets down to the 49-yard line. So that's a pickup of 6. They'll bring up a 2nd and 4. So 2nd and 4, 49-yard line. Herrera. He's got Hunkin in motion. Goes to the inside man, and it's a first down for St. Mary's. Carter chewing up some more yardage. So Carter picks up 10 more. You know, Carter is tiny, but he makes a big impact out there.
Yeah, the weapons that St. Mary's have been able to use in different ways have made it so difficult for this SI defense.
Inside 10 minutes to go in the third. St. Mary's with the ball, marching on the opening drive of the half, leading it 17-10. Marshall in motion. He's right behind Herrera. Guess who's got it? It's Marshall. Marshall going to the right, then going to the left. You can really see the fake sand coming up from the field turf. Really tells you how hard he plants into the ground. It's a 4-yard pickup. You know, it's interesting. I remember this field when it was grass, and by late September, I think they painted the sand green.
That must have been a long time ago, huh?
It just did not grow well. It also had an extremely pronounced crown to it. Hunkin is the man in motion. Herrera gives it to Hunkin. Carter led for him. And Hunkin gets down to the 27. So Hunkin has got a first down for St. Mary's. Yeah, if you stood on either sideline in the old days here, especially on the visiting sideline, you could barely see the people on the other sideline the way it was crowned. And that was done for drainage. Most fields have a little bit of a crown to them. Sometimes it's really pronounced. Here's Carter with the stutter step. Carter takes 4 Wildcat defenders to bring him down. Reyes, a two-way guy, in there with Hardigan, finish him off. 8:27 to go, third quarter. St. Mary's up 17-10, marching into Wildcat territory. Carter picked up 2 on the last play to the 25. It'll be 2nd and 8.
St. Mary's are really keeping the Wildcats on their toes here, using a variety of plays and weapons.
One of those weapons, the right tackle, Elijah Iermia, 6'2", 330 pounds. More than 3 stone, as the Brits would say. Sweep right by Marshall. Marshall tackled by Hardigan. And Marshall is down to the 23. That's a pickup of 2. Tough 2 there for Marshall. I think the real trick with Marshall, Neil, is you don't want to let him get some space.
Yeah, once he's in that open field, no, you're not stopping him. He's stopping, starting, almost impossible to bring down.
3rd and 4 right here. 7:19 to go in the third. Hunkin sweeps left. Hunkin Grabbed by Reyes. And Reyes a little shaken up right there. Remember, for Reyes, he's playing two ways. And part of his job on offense is to block for Aiden Smith. Now time is called for Reyes. We've already had a couple of injured Wildcat linemen today, an injured official, Roberto Lopez, the umpire who started the game. Now, if I want to read Prep to Prep, where do I go, Neil?
You go to prep2prepfoundation.org or just look up Prep to Prep in Google.
That's more letters than I want to type in.
Or you could go to my Twitter page, and it is linked from there.
It's linked from your Twitter.
Yep.
You know, I was really impressed last year that the young lady who was the student body president here, Lucia, I forgot her last name, but Lucia, she was awesome. And I interviewed her for a halftime show. I was on tape. It was on Zoom. And this is the importance of social media. In the middle of that interview, I got a LinkedIn invitation from Lucia. Talk about young people knowing how to network using social media. I was so impressed. Mid-interview, she sent it to me. I accept it. It's good. I mean, go as many LinkedIn connections as you can. You never know when one of your LinkedIn peeps can help you. And I say that with a little subject matter expertise. Here's Marshall. Marshall off to the right. Slips past one. Slips past two. Fighting three more. And he's driven out by Hardigan just short of the goal line. Hardigan on the stop along with Oliver Bly.
Marshall showing just how good he is there, breaking 2 tackles and needing 3 Wildcats to bring him down.
Hardigan picks up a tough 13 just as the 48 bus passes in the background. My day job, I work as a corporate recruiter. And LinkedIn can hook you up with all sorts of people who can say, hey, you want a job? So 1st and goal to go from the 2-yard line. Bly, the spy back for the Wildcats. And Carter cut down in the backfield. Hardigan in there on the stop. Santino Franco, who's being asked to do a lot today, I don't think he expected coming here to be the center for the Wildcats this afternoon.
No, but the Wildcats are struggling on offense, depleted by injuries to Johnny O'Brien.
6:15 to go in the third. 17-10 St. Mary's looking to turn this into a 3-possession game. And it's Carter, and he's in for the score. Touchdown Rams. So a 2-yard run for Carter. Matt Cain is coming off of the extra point. And when you say the name Matt Cain, I know a lot of people were thinking of the big 6'4", 230-pound right-hander who threw a perfect game for the Giants in 2012 and big part of the rotation in 10, 12, and 14 when the Giants won it all. But this Mr. Cain spells his last name with a K rather than a C.
He is perfect nonetheless. And the Rams now lead 24-10 with 6:03 left in the third.
Yeah, so the Rams on the opening drive of the second half eat up nearly half the third quarter. But
the Wildcats will really have to put on a long drive here to give them defense some time to rest.
Well, you know, Neil, one of the things I'm thinking about with the Wildcats, last week against Sacred Heart Prep, they led the entire second half. They were able to run a lot of plays up the middle and use a lot of clock. And that's what they've done well for 2 weeks. And now you don't lead. Now you've got to throw the ball. You got to move quickly. It's a different tempo.
Yeah, they didn't face too much adversity in their first 2 games. It's the first time this season that they find themselves in a hole this big.
So it's a 24-10 ball game. Still a 2-possession affair. This is where the Lucy field goal at halftime comes in handy. But as Neil said, this Wildcat offense has been on the sideline for a while. Parker and Crispin are the deep men awaiting Kane's kick. I love the St. Mary's helmets. Very Colorado State, very Los Angeles, St. Louis, Los Angeles Rams. If you really want to be technical, you could say this, the Los Angeles, Anaheim, St. Louis, Los Angeles, Inglewood Rams, based upon the cities where they've played.
That's more words than I want to say.
I just could never get used to St. Louis Rams. And I think they started out in Cleveland before they came to Los Angeles, way back when. So Parker's got to cover this one up. And this is not going to be a highlight return for Parker. Parker had that 80-plus yard kickoff return to get the game going, and the Wildcats, talk about a missed opportunity, had it at the 6-yard line, then penalties pushed them back, and they missed a field goal.
Yeah, that was a chance for them to really assert their dominance and start the game with good momentum, but just weren't able to convert.
So we'll get to see Aiden Smith and company for the first time in the second half. But I love the weather here today. This is perfect San Francisco football weather.
We love the fog here.
It's not too cold for the spectators, and it's not too hot for the players. Pfeiffer went in motion. Little direct snap to Crispin, and Crispin gets turned around. And Crispin nowhere to go.
The Wildcats were looking good heading into the half, driving down to the 8 with just 43 seconds left.
.5:30 to go in the third. Wildcats with the ball down 24-10. Crispin lost 4 on that play. Ivers, the wide man at the top of your screen. Smith, see if he can have a conversation with Ivers. He looks that way first. Goes deep for Crispin, too far. Crispin covered by Omari Gales, the 5'8", 155-pound sophomore. You know, Tony Franks, the head coach of St. Mary's, pointed this out to me the other night. His secondary, he's got 2 sophomores and 2 juniors. None of them have played a full season of varsity football. When you think about the 2 juniors played a freshman season 2 years ago. They played a 4-game season in April. That's it. And the sophomores, they played 4 freshman games in April. Now they're up here on the big stage. 3rd and 13, but everybody's in that same boat. Smith gets smothered right there. Jazon Shax, who's headed to Fresno State, lays him out. Shax, one of the best DNs in the entire state, pushes the Wildcats back to the 10-yard line. An 11-yard loss.
The St. Ignatius offensive woes continue.
So Lucy to punt, and this is a highlight film opportunity coming up for Marshall. You want good hang time here if you're Lucy. Wind is not a factor at the moment. High snap. Marshall wants no part of this. And it takes a Wildcat roll to the 43-yard line. A 33-yard kick. No return. And that's probably your key stat right there, is no return for Marshall. So 1st and 10. And Herrera and company will go back to work. St. Mary's came in 0-2, St. Ignatius 2-0, and it looks like the Rams could be on their way to picking up their first win of the year. Carter up the middle. Carter still on his feet, but the Wildcats slowing him down. George Lurdell on the stop after a gain of about 8. But right now, this St. Mary's line is having its way with the St. Ignatius front, Neil.
Not giving them a chance. Every run going for at least 4 yards.
And when you got a 330 guy out there.
Yeah, Elijah Iermia, he's just bullying the D-line of St. Ignatius.
Herrera running along Iermia's side of the line. Picks up a couple more. Santino Franco on the stun. Now, Franco is about 265, 270. But he looks like, well, a little guy next to Iermia.
That's how I feel next to the rest of the football team.
I mean, Santino Franco, hey, he's a big dude. He'd be a big dude on most campuses.
No doubt about it.
But at St. Mary's, Iermia owns the big dude. You know, he owns big dude standing. 1st and 10, 31-yard line. Marshall in motion behind Herrera. It's Marshall sweeping left's got a block from Carter, and Hardigan takes him down after about a 2-yard run. Sweep gets down to the 27, so officially a pickup of 4, but nice stretch out there at the end.
All the athleticism on display today here from St. Mary's.
You know, in Marshall, we mentioned it earlier, he is an elite hurdler. And Tony Franks was saying, you know, they haven't had a lot of track meets for him to show off his hurdling prowess. And by the time we get to the spring and then when he starts competing for UCLA next year, he could be one of the best hurdlers in the country. Carter on the sweep to the right. Carter's cut down in the backfield. Benjamin
Finally.
Boyden coming up from the safety spot.
That's a big, big play here for St. Ignatius.
Loss of 3, and it's 3rd and 9 at the 30. But St. Mary's with the lead, 24-10. And certainly the tools to extricate themselves from this mess. They check Wheatley in as a wide receiver. Arnado at the bottom of your screen. And it's a flip to Hunkin. Hunkin being chased, and Hunkin driven out of bounds by Benjamin Boyden. So St. Mary's comes up short on 3rd down. What would you do here, Neil? You're in that no man's land. You know, probably too far for a field goal, probably too short to punt.
I reckon you've got a 2-score lead. Go for the kill.
I like that. Lucchese checks back in. He'll go to the bottom of your screen. Lucchese had a touchdown catch earlier on a 4th down. I think he's the default guy to watch right here. Marshall slot right. Hunkin slot left. Arnado's wide to the top of your screen. Herrera. Here comes trouble. Herrera gets away. Herrera.
He's going to take it himself.
On his feet. And Herrera is going to be stopped well short of the 1st down. So 1:06 to go. And the Wildcats will take over on downs.
This is a do-or-die drive here for the Wildcats. They need something going for them.
So it'll be 1st and 10, St. Ignatius from its own 27-yard line. Wildcats will need at least 2 scores and the associated stops. Play fake inside, off to the right for Crispin. Excuse me, that's for Ivers. Ivers has not been the big part of the offense today that he was last week.
Last week, he absolutely dominated Sacred Heart Prep, but this week, not as much. They haven't been able to find him. Just the one big gain at the end of the second half.
And I think the Wildcats are taking on a better defensive front than they saw the first 2 weeks. 30 seconds left in the third. 24-10 St. Mary's in the white with the lead. Play fake Reyes. And this time it goes to Ivers. He stays in bounds, though. Doesn't matter much on a quarter clock as it would on the half of the game clock. Ball's out to the 35-yard line. And that'll be a 3rd and 3.
Clock counting down.
Wildcats going to run one more play in the third. And that's complete for the first down.
Jackson Muzzy with a nice gain there.
So Muzzy hauls it in. The Wildcats get the first down, and we go to the fourth quarter. Teams will switch ends of the field. St. Mary's the 24-10 lead over St. Ignatius on the SI Sports Network.
St. Ignatius College Preparatory is a Catholic Jesuit school serving the San Francisco Bay Area since 1855. Through a rigorous and integrated program of academic, spiritual, and co-curricular activities, St. Ignatius challenges its students to lead lives of faith, integrity, and compassion. Students are enriched by a diverse and loving Christian community and are called to become lifelong learners who develop their individual talents for the greater glory of God. With a commitment to intellectual excellence, leadership, service, and justice, we strive to be men and women for and with others, responding courageously to the opportunities and challenges of our time. Courage to lead, passion to serve.
First and 10 Wildcats from the 42-yard line. Muzzy just picking up the first down. Wildcats trail it by 2 touchdowns. And Crispin looked like he wants to pass it. And Crispin cut down, but you could see right there after the flip from Smith, Crispin looked pass, but his eyes didn't match what his arms were doing. You know, that concept is a little easier to think about than it is to execute. So a loss of 2 on first down. 11:29 to go in the ball game. Wildcats on a 2nd and 12. Smith lobs it out too far. That time looking for Ivers. That'll bring up 3rd down. Third and 12, 40-yard line. Muzzy will check back in for Crispin. Wildcats going a little more of their jumbo package right here. Reyes alongside Smith in the backfield. Little play fake, pressure. Screen pass incomplete. And Reyes and Jax right there getting to a little barb. That's one of those situations, unless it escalates, you're not going to see a flag because that's essentially the momentum of both players' motion continuing on. There's nothing sinister there. So Lucy on to punt. And Marshall, the deep man. Clean snap. High kick. Great hang for Lucy, and Marshall has not been a factor on punt returns today. Well, I feel like we're at Fenway Park. 11:08 to go. Speaking of being at the ballpark, I think if you got a chance to watch on satellite, or I don't know if it's on local TV tonight, but the Yankees and Mets playing at Citi Field in New York, they're going to have a lot of special ceremonies before the first pitch to honor the 20th anniversary of the September 11th attacks. The Mets hosted the first sporting event in New York after everything reopened, and Mike Piazza hit a game-winning home run. So Marshall on the screen from Herrera, steps out of bounds. But just thinking about crowds and being at the ballpark. And the plan before the game is former Mets manager Bobby Valentine is going to throw out the first pitch, and it's going to be caught by Joe Torre, who managed the Yankees at the time. And I know a lot of us who are, let's say, under the age of about 55, we think of Joe Torre as the manager of the Yankees and the Dodgers, but he was an all-star catcher with the Braves, and then an all-star infielder with the Cardinals, then a player manager with the Mets. 2nd and 6, 33-yard line. And the handoff to Carter. Carter gets back to the line of scrimmage. But when the Mets played at Shea Stadium back in 2001, that became a logistical point for relief supplies and out-of-town rescue crews. They were actually rescuers from out of town who were sleeping and showering in the locker rooms at Shea. 3rd and 6, including people from here in the Bay Area who had gone back. And Herrera completing to Marshall. Marshall slippery, and Marshall stretches it across midfield. He's got an 18-yard pickup to the 49 of St. Ignatius. So right here, this drive could put the ball game away for St. Mary's. First and 10, 49-yard line of the Wildcats. Cruz, Herrera, and company have run the offense well. Hunkin is wide to the right, bottom of your screen. And here is Carter. And Carter having a great day as well. Carter is down to the 34, a pickup of 15. First and 10, 35-yard line. Well, the Rams have the luxury of taking time right now. Hunkin to the right. Marshall, the wingman, on the left. Herrera having a quick word with one of his receivers. And Herrera looking deep. And he completes it. This time to Marshall. Marshall has been everywhere this afternoon. Another first down for St. Mary's. Marshall's down to the 23. McEwen on the stop. St. Mary's right now with a rare look. They've got a tight end in the game in Dylan McShane. You might see him in the huddle wearing number 87. First and 10, 22-yard line. So Herrera to Carter. Carter up the gut. Carter, little more than that. He's down to the 1 yard line. Carter with a 21-yard gain. So Carter down to the 1, and St. Mary's right now on the precipice of putting this one away. McShane, the tight end on the right. It's Carter, and Carter is in for the score. Reyes made contact with Carter as he reached the goal line. Remember, all you have to do is touch the goal line, and you are considered in the end zone. So touchdown, St. Mary's. And here is Kane for the extra point. It is up. It is good. And with 8:31 to go in the ball game, St. Mary's makes it a 3-touchdown affair, leading at 31-10. So the Wildcats have their work cut out for them with 8.5 minutes left. Remember, the road gets a little steeper for the Wildcats going forward. They go to St. Francis on the 24th, then at Valley Christian on October 2nd. Wildcats don't come back to play in San Francisco until the 8th of October when they play Sacred Heart at Kezar, a game you can see on Coffee TV 20 at 7 o'clock West Coast time. Looking forward to that game. Looking forward to the oldest prep rivalry west of the Rockies, and certainly in California, getting some wider exposure on Channel 20. No, we're not going to have the couch with the dogs and Jim Gabbert and dance party. And the sleazy arms will not be open. But you know, it would be nice if they showed it after. I mean, they used to show Streets of San Francisco every day. I think they showed it twice a day on Coffee. Just get one of those old Streets episodes queued up at the end. Tonight's episode, Web of Fear. This is Parker from the 5-yard line. Sweeping out to the left, gets across the 20. And he goes nowhere other than the 24-yard line. You know, the fun thing about watching old shows like Streets of San Francisco is you look at, okay, you see you have the fashion sense, but look at the skyline of San Francisco. Look at some of the movies from 20, 30, 40, 50 years ago. Look how much denser the skyline is now. It's a real instant visual history lesson. It can be a lot of fun. So Smith still in at quarterback. Muzzy, the tight end, goes in motion to the right. Here is Green. Ronan Green, the senior running back. He picks up 5. 8 minutes to go in the ball game. And it's 2nd and 5. And a illegal procedure against the Wildcats will cost St. Ignatius 5 yards. Second and 10, 25-yard line. Smith passing. In and out of the hands of Muzzy. That'll bring up third down. You got to wonder here, does St. Mary's, with all of its offensive firepower, do they have a slow it down, run the clock offense in them? If the Wildcats don't convert here on third down. You know, as the season goes longer, and kind of put this in context right now, this is the third game of what will likely be a 10-game season. Smith, swing play over to the left, completes it to Crispin. And Crispin well short of the first down, out to the 34-yard line. He needed a lot more. That'll bring up a 4th and 6. But last year at this point, they were 3/4 of the way done with the season after 3 games. Now we're talking with a couple of coaches, Mark Modest at Reardon, Barry McLaughlin at Sacred Heart, John Recalia here at St. Ignatius, and they all said we were just starting to figure it out when the curtain came down. We were just starting to click. You know, the flip side of that is it's been essentially 4 months since they last played football, so it's a little more familiar. What are they talking about with kids in the summer, the brain drain? Well, maybe there isn't as much football brain drain this year. Because November to late August is a long wait. But April to August, not so bad. But last year was a speed round season. Personal foul against the Wildcats. It'll be a 15-yard walk back. A lot of penalties today. So it'll be 4th down. Wildcats will have to punt here. So they mark the punt off here from the 18-yard line. It's not Marshall this time to return. It's Brooks Wheatley. So for Tony Franks here, it's a chance to see who else can return a punt. And just give Wheatley an opportunity. St. Mary's plays mostly a nighttime schedule. There's the snap. Good kick by Lucy. And Wheatley will take the fair catch at his own 45. So a 37-yard kick for Lucy. Lucy showing his worth both as a field goal guy today and as a punter. So St. Mary's plays in the Tri-City League. Tokay from Lodi is 4-0. Lodi's 2-1. Tracy 2-1. Lincoln Stockton 1-1. West of Tracy 1-2. Scores from last night. Tracy won at Pacheco in Los Banos 48-0. Now I wonder if Pacheco plays in that stadium. When you drive through Los Banos on the way to Fresno, you see that stadium right there? I wonder if they play there. West beat Mountain House 14-12 in a battle of schools located near the Altamont Pass. Herrera on first down, gives it to Marshall. Marshall's got room to run. Marshall's got a ton of room, and Marshall's looking at daylight. See ya later. Marshall for the 53-yard touchdown. So just like that, St. Mary's has turned this into a rout. Other scores, Lodi beat the Lincoln Mustangs from San Francisco 38-7 last night. Tokay beat Concord High 25-0. Kane for the extra point. It's good. Well, 6:58 to go in the ball game, and the Rams lead at 38-10 over St. Ignatius. Lincoln of Stockton beat Yukich Colony from Atwater 50-0, and Central Catholic with the win last week over St. Mary's. So that's how things shape up. Looking at St. Mary's schedule coming up, Rams will stay on the road on Friday. They'll visit Bishop O'Dowd in Oakland. And then on the 24th, close out non-conference play at home against Cardinal Newman. Then the league play gets underway on the road at Tracy, home for Lodi, home for Tokay, on the road at West, and then a great showdown to finish off the year, Lincoln and St. Mary's under the lights on October 29th in Stockton. Parker is going to take this one at the 15. Parker steps outside. Parker across the 25, across the 30, and out to the 33-yard line. There's a downed Ram. But I like these St. Mary's helmets with the very definitive Ram look. Mentioned Colorado State, mentioned the Los Angeles Rams, because being in the Bay Area, working a lot of college basketball, you say St. Mary's and you're just inclined to say Gales. And, nope, they're the Rams. Taking a look at how things are in the West Catholic League. St. Francis the winner, 31-28 over De La Salle last night. What a great ending to that ball game. The Lancers led most of the way. De La Salle took the lead late. And then Matthew Doherty, the quarterback, with a 16-yard pass to Nicholas Andrighetto Jr. And this is how old I'm feeling. I remember his dad playing for St. Francis in the mid-90s. Nick Andrighetto Sr. But a packed house down at Ron Calcagno Stadium. De La Salle went 30 years and 318 games without losing to a Northern California opponent. So the injured Ram, Brooks Wheatley, coming off the field. Sarah's on the road, actually home today to Half Moon Bay. They'll open WCAL play at Bellarmine. They'll open with Mitty on the road on the 25th. Mitty is playing all of its games on campus this year at Father Jack Russey Stadium. They'll have one night game. Everything else will be a Saturday affair, and it gets hot in San Jose in early October. If you go, bring water. Or watch on the stream from an air-conditioned place. 1st and 10 from the 34-yard line. And the Wildcats get it to Charlie Pfeiffer. So here's an opportunity for John Regalia and his staff to get a look at their depth going into WCAL play. 2nd and 9 from the 35. Sacred Heart Cathedral lost at Bellarmine last night, 17-7. Tough year for Barry McLaughlin's club. A 7-point loss to start it out on the road at Sacred Heart Prep in Atherton. A 7-point loss at home against Palma, then a 7-point loss on the road at Burlingame. Talk about unlucky 7. And Smith brought down another sack there for Jazon Jacks. Jack's a good athlete. He's headed to Fresno State to play ball next year. 6'3", 230-pound senior. Jeff Tedford's done a great job down there. Yeah, it's ironic. You know, when Jeff was the coach at Cal, he was reluctant to play the Fresnos of the world. 5:27 to go. Rams lead at 38-10. Inside handoff to Green. Green nowhere to go. That'll bring up 4th down. But this game will help the Wildcats with playoff points. It's going to help the Rams by getting their first win of the year. You know, I'm going to borrow a basketball parlance to describe, well, the schedule for both of these teams, but especially for St. Mary's. Lucy on to punt. And Hunkin is the deep man. Let's see how good the hang time is here. It's another good one. But this time it takes a reverse bounce. So there's an expression basketball coaches use, and they call it a Louisville schedule. Well, what's a Louisville schedule? Well, between Thanksgiving and Christmas in a typical season, Louisville's men's basketball team plays Notre Dame, Indiana, Purdue, and Kentucky. And then you work in maybe, a directional school here and there, maybe an Indiana State or a Loyola Chicago or, a DePaul. And none of them are slouches. I mean, you got a lot of banners there. You got a lot of Final Four appearances among those schools. So St. Mary's now with its second offense in. Charlotte is in there. That quarterback for Herrera. And Charlotte getting it down inside the Wildcat 30. $17-yard pickup for Charlotte. But you look at St. Mary's schedule. De La Salle, Central Catholic, St. Ignatius, Bishop O'Dowd, all teams expected to contend in their various leagues. Fake to Carter. Charlotte likes to run. And Charlotte down inside of the 10 to the 7-yard line. Pickup of another 21 for Charlotte. Charlotte trying to forget last week. He had 3 turnovers in the ball game. Got some scores for you. Reardon and Tamalpais are tied at 8. And Sarah at the half leads Half Moon Bay 14-7. There's a little bit of a grudge match when those two schools meet. Here's Carter, sweep left. Carter stepping across the 5, down to about the 2-yard line. So Carter on the sweep picks up, call it 10, down to the 2, where it'll be 1st and goal to go with 3 minutes left. And St. Mary's, it's going to take some time here, but this has got to feel good after the first 2 weeks of the season. I talked to Tony Franks the other night, and he said he felt good about his team. He said there was nothing to feel bad about in the 2 losses they had. And Charlotte's in for the score. There is a flag down. So Charlotte, from here, looked like he got in. But there's a flag down, so hang on. holding. It's going to come back. So the ball goes back to the 14-yard line, where it'll be 3rd and 11. Carter dragged down, and Carter has the ball stripped. The Wildcats have it. It's recovered by Leopold. Luke Leopold recovering the fumble. And St. Mary is denied the end zone. So the Wildcats will have it 1st and 10 from their own 16-yard line. The Wildcats going a little bit of their second unit look. Davin McAndrews in at quarterback. Green carried on that last play. Gain of 1, 2nd and 9. Wildcats show pass, and it's complete. McAndrews to Green. 1:36 to go in the ball game. Out to the 22. Bring up a 3rd and 4. And in and out of the hands of Hugh Schwartz. So 54 seconds left. Wildcats might as well go for it here because I get a feeling St. Mary's going to sit on the ball if they get it back. These two teams split a home-and-home series. Wildcats won here in 2014. Rams avenged that loss in 2015. Tony Franks was telling me he'd love to play a game at Kezar sometime. He's been coaching for almost 40 years. This is his second go at St. Mary's. McAndrews completes it. And that goes to Hardigan. That's to Bianco, Leo Bianco. Out to the 28 for a first down for the Wildcats. So McAndrews keeps it. McAndrews gets a couple of blocks. And McAndrews out to the 33-yard line for a gain of 5. I think the Wildcats can run one more play here, and then we'll call it an afternoon. Okay, so it's a loss for St. Ignatius, but I think from a learning standpoint For John Regalia and his staff and his players, they're figuring out some people who might give them some depth in WCAL play. McAndrews on the keeper, gets out of bounds as time expires. So McAndrews picks up 11 yards on that scamper at the end. And that'll do it for the ball game. So our final score this afternoon, St. Mary's of Stockton 38. The Wildcats 10. The Wildcats see their season record drop to 2-1, and for St. Mary's, they pick up their first win of the year after a tough start. So coming up, the Wildcats hit the road following a bye week. The WCAL opener is at St. Francis on September 24th. You can follow SI Scores on Twitter for streaming information for that game. And don't forget to, when you hit the subscribe button right here on the SI Sports Network on YouTube, you'll get notifications to stay up to the date on all the games St. Ignatius will stream this season. For our executive producer, Sean Lahan, proud member of the SI class of 87, and our producer, Felix Quinones, I'm George Devine, wishing a very pleasant good afternoon from St. Ignatius, where St. Mary's wins at 38-10. Couldn't think of a better way to spend a Saturday than joining you.